So what they're also mentioning in their emails was how many synchronicities that they're starting to see in their life. You know what I mean? Like seeing the same numbers over and over, this ringing in their ears. And to me, oh shit, is the cow going to start? I've been seeing the same 6 numbers in different combinations 50 to 100 times a day, every day. Every day. So I think the question, instead of asking, what does seeing these same numbers mean? I think the real question should be, what is it? What's that subtle urge that we get to look over at the clock at the exact perfect time? When we're on the computer, what is that urge? It's a very, very subtle urge that gets us to look at the clock. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this urge. I want to talk about these frequencies. I want to talk about synchronicities in your life. Hey, what's up? My name's Case, and this is my channel, Everyday Masters. A couple months ago, I made a video about these alternative memories called the Mandela Effect. You can't handle the truth, or can you? At the end of this video, after talking about these frequencies for 25 minutes, I just thought, maybe I should do a little experiment and see how many people that are experiencing these alternative memories would also be able to quickly attune to these frequencies. And I keep getting these emails like, dude, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, I can feel this, dude. This is crazy intense. And what's going on? So, in that video, and I made another video on these alternative memories about, the holographic universe and, how we should follow the lunatics. I kept talking about this awakening, and how people are stepping through believing into this knowing. You know what I mean? They're remembering who they are, why they're here, and what's going on. Now, that's kind of vague. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell does that even mean? They're remembering who they are. So, this video is basically for the people that felt those frequencies, and one thing I noticed in the emails is that they kept talking about these synchronicities they're seeing in their life. You know what I mean? They're seeing the same numbers over and over. They're having this ringing in their ear. They're having these strange memories of past events that it's almost like they're having 2 memories. You know what I mean? They can remember 2 versions of like a Thanksgiving dinner, 15 years ago. And so this is all connected. Like if you don't believe in reincarnation and you think that your consciousness, your soul, your life force never existed before your mom and dad had drunken sex after a party. If you're going to watch the rest of this video, man, just keep an open mind and see if anything resonates with you. You know what I mean? If it doesn't, then just move on. You know what I mean? I always try to say that because, dude, what I'm making here is for 1 to 2% of the population. So I guess the real question is, what are we waking up to? You know what I mean? What are we remembering? How do we know what's going on down here and why we're here? I guess I can only come from my perspective and what has become obvious for me through the synchronicities that I'm finding in my life. So the person talking to you right now, Case, you know what I mean? I'm having this physical experience on Earth. You know what I mean? I'm completely unique. I have my own consciousness, and I'm carving out a life for myself, down here on Earth. But dude, this isn't really me. This Case talking to you right now, dude, it's a tiny, tiny fraction of who I really am. And what we're awakening to is who we really are. Not on this level, but in the fuller level. So imagine a sun, okay? You're looking at this sun and there's just rays of light coming out all over the place. Well, the Case talking to you now, dude, I'm one of those rays. Just let's say there's millions of rays. Well, I am one of those rays. I'm down here. I've stepped down my consciousness to focus myself into this physical plane to go through these experiences. But the real me is the sun. It's all of the sun. So when Case's time's up, you know what I mean? When my game's over down here, dude, I merge back with my fuller self, my higher self. You know, I usually use the terms higher self or oversoul. You know what I mean? That's it. Trust me, it doesn't matter what you call it. Every single ray of this sun is a life experience. And so, you know, as I go through life, you know, you gain this wisdom. So, you know, these experiences on life, you gain this wisdom. Now, I know when you look around, you see the opposite is true also. You know, the people, the older they get, the more narrow they get in their thinking, and their box gets tighter. Well, I'm not talking about those kind of people. I'm talking about the kind of people that when you go through life, your consciousness, your awareness expands. You see more depth in every single experience. I'm talking about the people that live in a box like this, and then all of a sudden they realize, wait a second, what's this? Because this is real, but this doesn't fit into my box right here. And so they expand their box. That's the type of wisdom that I'm talking about, where you get more wisdom with the longer you're on the planet. So if you've had all these lives, you know what I mean, on Earth, and you've done all these experiences, you know, you've killed, you've been killed, you've died at 110, and you've died at 2 months, and you've been every race and every religion and lived all around the world, okay? Well, with each one of those experiences, there's a certain wisdom that's gained, okay? Like, that's just obvious, right? You would have a different perspective of this reality that we're going through. And so with each one of these different perspectives, there's a certain wisdom that is increasing, a more of a knowingness, okay? Now, let's talk about these frequencies, because these frequencies, when these frequencies first came onto the planet in the early 90s, and you know, a lot of people think, oh, well, when you say these frequencies are new to the planet, you know, there's a lot of people that are like, how can there be anything new? Well, dude, there's new stuff. So, you know, you can either accept the fact that there's a new frequency on the planet that was never here before the 90s, or you can stay in your box and just believe that there's nothing new. Now scientists are telling us about these frequencies, that they've never seen anything like it on the planet. And the reason that they say that we can access these frequencies now, you know, science always has to come up with explanation for everything. So scientists says that, you know, we live in this bubble, you know, of height, width, depth, and time, okay? And they said that something's happening to time. That time is actually expanding in all directions. And so if you imagine this bubble that we're living in, as it expands, it's becoming more porous. And so as it expands, it's letting in these new frequencies for us to access. Now that's scientists saying this. I actually personally don't believe that. I personally believe that these frequencies have always been sitting in this section of the galaxy, just waiting for the Earth to pass through. You know what I mean? Like the galactic plane. And it takes like 36 years for us to get through this galactic plane in the Milky Way galaxy. Well, guess what? These frequencies basically came onto the planet exactly when we entered the edge of the galactic plane. I don't know. Kind of find that interesting. And I kind of find it interesting also that all these ancient belief systems always talked about this age of awakening of mankind, this golden age. And they all talked about this time right now that we're going through. Now, how can they all talk about the same thing using different terminology, but they're all talking about the same time frame. And I think it's because they knew that in this section, they somehow knew that in this section of the galaxy that we were getting ready to go through, we would be exposed to these frequencies. And these frequencies were going to accelerate our awakening. So my oversoul is always with me. You know what I mean? It's constantly monitoring what I'm doing down here because it's me. You know what I mean? We're one. So while I'm down here playing this game, of course it has an invested interest because it's me. You know what I mean? And so when I'm down here in this physical plane, man, I have such a limited view. You know what I mean? Like here I am and I'm like in this jungle and I'm like cutting my way through and I'm like, that's where I want to go. That is what I want to experience. But dude, like, I'm in the midst of it. You know what I mean? I have such a narrow view on the potential, on the possibilities of what can happen and how they can play out. But dude, we all have our higher self. We all have an oversoul. And that oversoul is on the mountaintop. And it has a completely different perspective of what's going on down here. So here I am, I'm cutting through the jungle, I'm trying, but this is what I want. And dude, my oversoul is on the mountains going like, yo dude, no. Take 3 steps back and go to the left. Well, like I'm down here and I'm like, why would I go back? Dude, that's where I'm going. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go back. And I start, my mind takes over my beliefs. So I get this urge to go back. But my rationale says, dude, I'm trying to get from point A to point B. Why would I go back? You know what I mean? So I have a very limited view on what my possibilities, what my opportunities are. So let's use an example. So I just invented a golf product, okay? And I need to find a plastic injection mold company, manufacturer, to make this product. So I've spent like 3 weeks, man, all day, every day, researching every plastic injection manufacturer. But I'm feeling this pressure. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to get my product on the market. But as I'm sitting there typing away, basically just wasting my time, getting nowhere, I get this urge. I look over and I see my dog and I'm like, man, how cool would it be for me to go get my bike and we go to that park and I go for a ride on my bike and my dog runs with me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, wow, that feels exciting. I think that's what I should do. And then my rational mind kicks in and it's like, dude, no, what you need to do is you need to find a manufacturer for your new product. You don't have time to be going out with your dog, going on a mountain bike ride. That doesn't serve any purpose. So I sit there and I continue to type and I continue to research. I got that urge to go on a mountain bike ride with my dog from my higher self. This urge came over me. I looked at my dog. I got this feeling of excitement. I saw us doing it, yet I blew it off because I couldn't see how that would help me. When come to find out, if I would have put my bike in the car, taken my dog out, at the exact moment that I'm pulling into the parking lot, Alan, my good buddy from high school, who I haven't seen in 15 years, shows up and he's like, hey man, what are you doing? Well, I tell him, hey, I just invented this new product and I'm, trying to find a manufacturer right now. And he's like, dude, my brother-in-law is the manager of the biggest plastic injection manufacturer in China. He goes, dude, he's actually in town right now. Why don't you come over and show him your molds or show him your diagrams and we'll see what happens. But I didn't follow my instinct because my rational mind couldn't see how going on a bike ride was going to be the best thing for me at the time. You know why? Because the mind that we have is so limited. It cannot see all the possibilities. It cannot see all the synchronicities. It is so limited. It has no idea how something is going to happen. It's just capable of knowing how something has already happened. So we think, well, if it has happened this way, then it has to happen the next time it happens. It's got to happen the same way. No, it doesn't. That's a very limited view. And the more you connect with your higher self, the stronger these impulses come. And you start trusting yourself, and you start seeing these synchronicities. You know what I mean? Like, if you get this crazy feeling to go to the store, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you go to the store and you encounter somebody, or you overhear a conversation that makes everything click in your mind. There was a reason that impulse said go to the store. And so for all these people who are experiencing these alternative memories, they're also experiencing these same numbers. They're seeing the same numbers over and over, whatever that is, 11, 11, 12, 12, 3, 3, 3, whatever. I mean, I've been seeing for the last 6 years, every single day, I see the same 6 numbers in different combinations 50 to 100 times a day. And I mean, you know, when I first started seeing these numbers, I was like, holy shit, dude, I'm going to win the lottery. You know what I mean? But I started realizing that what's that subtle feeling to look over at the clock and to always see the same numbers. That's coming from my higher self, from my oversoul. You know what I mean? It's a very subtle movement. For your oversoul to get you to look at the clock at a specific time, that's no big deal, because we don't question it. There's no rational, like, why should I be doing this? We just do it. But when we get an urge to all of a sudden stop what we're doing and go take a bike ride, then our rational mind kicks in. And what happens is we rationalize our dreams to death. Literally. We can't figure out how this is going to happen. That's not our job to figure out how it's going to happen. We are not capable of figuring out all the synchronicities and everything that I've ever done in my life successfully with my business and whatever, especially my artwork, all by accident. All my plans, my rigid plans, and this is the way it's going to be, dude, they never worked out. The best things I've always done have always come by accidents, synchronicities, coincidences. So I started realizing, wait a second, man, there's a connection. There is an impulse that I'm getting, and when I react on that impulse, magic starts happening in my life. And when I don't react on that impulse, I just keep grinding it out. And so, let's go back to the sun theory. So here I am, and I'm one tiny aspect of this fuller self. You know what I mean? And every single ray has been a different life, a different experience. And there's a wisdom that my oversoul has gained from every single one of these experiences. Now here's where these frequencies come into play. Because I know, without a question, that when you bring these frequencies into your awareness, you are reconnecting with your higher self, with your oversoul. There's a reason they showed up in the early 90s, right when we started going through this galactic plane. There's a reason that all these ancient religions are talking about this time of awakening. Every person I know that is attuned to these frequencies has stepped into this knowing that they're not alone, that there's much, much more of them, that they are a tiny aspect of the greater self that's in the non-physical right now. And there's a communication between the greater self of them, the higher self, the oversoul, and them. And they learn how this communication works. And the more they start trusting these impulses, these instincts that are accompanied by these emotions, the stronger they get. Because if your oversoul, your higher self, is constantly sending you these signals and you're not listening, dude, you're not going to quit getting the signals, but man, they seem to be muffled even more and muffled even more. And And you certainly don't feel like you have this greater aspect of you that is here to help you, to guide you, because it's you. It's not going to trick you, man. Like, why would your higher self trick you? Why would it send you an impulse to go to something that's going to be terrible for your life? Like, those beliefs are so based in fear. When you filter the communication between your higher self and your oversoul through these fear-based beliefs, dude, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You have to start trusting yourself. And how do you start trusting yourself? You start realizing that, wait a second, how come I keep seeing these synchronicities? How come every time something good happens to me, I keep seeing these numbers? You know what I mean? Or how come every time something bad happens to me, I keep seeing the same thing? Dude, those are signals. And if you don't start learning from these signals you're seeing, these synchronicities, if you keep writing them off as like, they're out of my, it's just a coincidence, dude, you're not going to get it. Dude, we have a communication with our higher self or oversoul, whatever you want to call it. And these frequencies are increasing that connection that we have. And when I'm down here on this planet, it's like here I have this magnificent oversoul. You know what I mean? That's had these millions of experiences and is with me now. Dude, it's not just sitting here watching me. You know what I mean? Like, there could be aspects of my oversoul spread all around the planet right now. I might have 20,000 aspects of my oversoul manifested in the physical form right now. And when you think about it, you're like, that's crazy, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Well, what about when you meet somebody and the second you meet them, you have this feeling that is so strong. You're like, I love this person. Like, dude, I dig this person. Like, I didn't know anything about this person, but there is something about this person that I like. What do you think's going on there? I don't know. And does it make you feel any less of who you are on the idea that you have many, many aspects of you on this planet? Because it certainly doesn't make me feel like less. I'll tell you what it makes me feel like is I got buddies all over this planet that can help me to achieve whatever I want to achieve. Wherever I am in my life, if I follow my instincts, I can go anywhere in my life. If I'm here and that's my goal, all I have to do is follow my instincts, and it will be the quickest route to that goal. It might not be a straight line. You know what I mean? Because when you follow your excitement with integrity, you know what I mean? When I talk about following your highest excitement, I'm talking about with integrity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 50. I'm kind of past, 22. Would it be exciting to, go steal some money? I'm not even talking about that kind of thing, dude. I'm talking about when you get these impulses and they're exciting to you. And they might not be, what's more exciting to you? Doing the laundry or taking your dog for a walk? Which one? If taking your dog for a walk is more exciting to you at the time, then that's what you do. Because there's a reason there's more excitement with taking the dog for a walk. And you could be like, but I don't have enough time. I got to get my clothes clean. No, you don't, dude. Your clothes can wait. And I keep going back to these frequencies because it's so weird. Because when I talk to people about the process I went through, like this reconnection, it's weird because I know hundreds and hundreds of people who have done this. And it works every single time. Whether it takes them a day or a year, this new sense of who they are, of the larger aspect of them comes in. How can it work every time? It's almost like this loophole in the matrix, like literally where it just always works. And so, are you going to reconnect with your higher soul? without doing this? Of course. I mean, we are in this awakening. We are going through this evolutionary step, and there's nothing that's going to stop this from happening. Nothing. But what it does is it almost shortens that. So say it would take you 40 years of experiences in life and noticing these synchronicities and noticing these impulses and noticing a correlation. How would you like to just jam that into like a month or a week or a day or 6 months, whatever time? It doesn't even matter. It speeds up this connection you have with your higher self. When people are saying, oh, we're all connected, you know what I mean? Well, that's what they're talking about. Like, I have all these immediate connections with my oversoul. And so it's almost like the layers of an onion. You know what I mean? So I'm on earth and I'm experiencing this particular plane of existence. And then I merge back to my oversoul. And then it continues on. Those oversouls are connected. And then there's other connections beyond that. And obviously when you go out, everything is connected. All that is connected. So, like right now, you know, since I'm on planet Earth, you know, I've focused my consciousness into this plane to go through these experiences, this illusion of physicality, but I've stepped down my consciousness almost like an electric transformer steps down power. So from all-knowing, less. Now I'm in this plane, dude, I don't know anything. You know what I mean? Like, all I know is that I exist. So I'm not saying that you like walk around with this knowledge of like 1,000 lives or 1,000,000 lives. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you go through your life, you'll be faced with the situation, with the challenge. And only when you need it, when you need to access that wisdom, at that moment, you will know what to do. You will feel what feels right for you. There will be no doubt. The rational mind won't kick in and say, yeah, but, you know, if you do that, you do. No, dude, you start trusting yourself. You have to trust yourself. You cannot get these impulses from your higher self, from your oversoul, and then take your fear-based beliefs and filter them, because it's not going to make sense. When people talk about, you know, I've heard a lot of Christians and they talk about they give themselves over to God. Like, they can't handle the control, so they give themselves over to God. You know, in a way, I've given myself over too. I've given over the controls. I still have my life, but I realize that I'm co-creating my life. You know what I mean? I'm not in complete charge of creating my life. I have help, man. I have help. I have a source of wisdom that I can tap into at any time. So the more you play with these frequencies, the higher your vibration gets. The higher the vibration gets, the more depth you see in all of reality. The more you resonate like a tuning fork with your higher self. The closer that vibration gets, the closer your frequency gets, the more synchronicities you see. The stronger your instinct comes through. And so as you raise your frequency, everybody experiences this differently. But for a lot of people, man, there's a constant ringing in their ears. You know what I mean? Like, I hear it all the time, dude. Like, I hear these high-pitched frequencies. And when I give sessions to people, they will talk about these high-pitched frequencies they hear and how during the session, the frequencies actually change pitch. They even go even higher. So I personally don't experience the ringing ears. My wife does. I would say probably 75% of the friends that I talk to on a frequent basis, they experience this. But with the emails people were sending me, dude, it was what the hell's up with these frequencies? How come I keep seeing all these synchronicities in my life? You know, with either You know, either you think about an old friend that you haven't heard of in the past, and all of a sudden, like 30 seconds later, they call on the phone. What's up with that? What do you think is actually happening? How can you think of somebody that you haven't thought about in 20 years, and then all of a sudden they call? Dude, that's because we're tapping into this field. We're always connected to this field. If you start attuning to these frequencies, you will know what's right for you. And if you're in a relationship that isn't right for you, dude, there's a really good chance that that relationship is going to end because it doesn't feel right. You no longer need that. You actually can't do that relationship anymore. That is not in your best interest. If you have a job you hate and you start bringing these frequencies into your attention or go through this reconnection process, dude, you might just go in one day, it might be the next day, it might be a week later, but you're going to reach a point and go, dude, I'm done with this. This is not working for me. And you don't have the fear of like, what's coming? Because you won't be able to take that job one more second. And the second you say, you know what, dude, you can take this job and stick it up your ass. Well, guess what, dude? Doors start to open up. Because you're starting to trust yourself. You're starting to know what is right for you and what isn't. And dude, things just get easier. You know what I mean? So we're waking up to the fact that, dude, we're much more than we thought we were. Dude, like we're literally connected to everything. And if you're still at the level where, you know, you hear somebody and they start talking about, you know, you're creating your life and you're like, it's just the law of attraction. Yeah, dude, that's a law of the universe, bro. That's how this reality works. You know what I mean? So if you tried to like create your life and you spent like 10% of your time saying, this is what I want, and then you spend the other 90% thinking, this is what I don't want, this is what dude, you're creating shit you don't want. You know what I mean? Like we bring these challenges, we create these challenges that come into our life, and we create them to grow from, to learn from. And if you don't learn the experience of what you've brought into your life, you've brought every single thing in your life into your life for a reason. Every bad relationship, every bad move, you've done that for a reason to grow from. And I tell you what, dude, if you don't learn the lesson, if you think that if you're not taking responsibility for bringing that into your life, dude, it's going to come back stronger. And if you don't learn the lesson, back stronger. But when a challenge comes to you and you realize, wait a second, this is just a mirror reflection of something inside me. And I've brought it to my attention. I've brought it into my awareness, something that I have to deal with to learn from this. And if you approach life that way and you learn your lessons, dude, they don't keep recycling back. You move on to new lessons, to new challenges. But you know what? You reach a point where you actually see the beauty in the challenges. You know what I mean? They're not overwhelming at all. You realize that you're never faced with a challenge that you can't handle. You know what I mean? Like you don't worry about stuff because you know when those things happen to you, whenever they happen, at that moment, you will know what to do then. So why are you going to worry about shit that hadn't happened yet? I don't know. There's an easiness that comes in to remembering who you are and remember what's going on down here, man. You know what? I had a lot of comments too where people were saying, when I was talking about these frequencies, people were saying, that's a Reiki energy, or, you know, that's your chi. No, dude, it's not. And I mean, I can think of like 15 reasons that I know it's different. I mean, there's like 6 scientific studies done that proves that it's not. It's never been here before. Okay, one example, one scientific research that was done, what they did was they took a plant, okay? They took the leaves off this plant. They put the leaves down. Some of the leaves were control leaves and they didn't do anything to them. Okay? Those leaves lasted for like 9 to 13 days before they died. And by died, I mean like they lost their water weight. Okay? Then they took other leaves and they had Reiki practitioners come in and do Reiki on them. Okay? Those leaves actually lasted like 30 days before they died, lost their water weight. Then they had other leaves and they brought in reconnective healing practitioners to basically do a reconnective healing session, expose these leaves to these frequencies. Dude, these leaves lasted 90 days, up to 91 days, and some of them started growing roots. Dude, that's impossible. You know what I mean? Like any botanist will tell you, that is impossible to happen. And I mean, there's tons of research on this. So when somebody said, I guess why it bothers me is there's some people that think that there's nothing new going on, that everything has always been. Dude, no, this is new. This is different. You know what I mean? Like people will say, oh, well, in your healing sessions, that's your chi. Well, no, it's not my chi. Because I would be gathering my chi and I would be sending it to them. Okay, dude, I don't do anything of that. I don't send anything. Okay? Here's what happened. Here's how I know this isn't my chi. So I have a client come in. Hey, what's going on? We talk for a few minutes. I give them a form to fill out. They fill it out. I go ahead and lay down on the table. They lay down on the table. As they lay down on the table, I take my phone and I go over for, to see. I go for 30 minutes. So I want to, bring up my watch and make sure it's 30 minutes. Put in 30 minutes. I sit on my table. And 95% of the time, almost every time, the second I turn around, they are in full register. They are rocking. It's almost like I don't have to be there. So I'm not sending anything. You know what I mean? Like when you're playing with these frequencies, dude, you're like an antenna. Okay? You're just allowing these frequencies to come through you, and your focus, your intent, sends them to the other person. I'm not sending anything. So I know that these frequencies are not Reiki and they're not my chi. So until next time, man, I wish you the best. And if you haven't seen my other video, Mandela Effect, You Can't Handle the Truth, or Can You? I highly recommend you watch that. If you don't have time, dude, just skip to the part where you see where I do the frequency thing and just see if you can feel them. Because there's something that when you actually feel these aren't subtle, dude. These are insanely strong. They're very, very powerful. I mean, you will know when you feel them. And they're so easy to feel because they're already coursing through you right now. And so, if you haven't already, if you're interested in these frequencies, please go read, Dr. Eric Pearl's book, Reconnective Healing, Heal Others, Heal Yourself. And he's actually got another book that describes in detail the information that came through with these frequencies and how they're actually affecting our body, our consciousness. How people are having these physical, mental, spiritual healings as soon as they attune to these frequencies, and how these healings seem to last for the lifetime of the client. So, it's a lot to take in, but, I hope you enjoyed it, and till next time, peace.